Hi everybody and welcome to this week's episode. I'm still not 100% sure on the verbiage, but I think I'm probably going to go with episode. So this week is a Halloween episode, if you can't tell by the lovely side panels there. So I don't really have much to say at this point. This speed paint, I wasn't so sure what I wanted to do for the speed paint, and then I was thinking, you know what, it's Halloween, or Halloween is coming up. I'm going to be posting this pretty close to Halloween, so I might as well do something Halloween themed. And I was also trying to figure out what I want to change my Twitter icon to, so it all just kind of came together that way. I wasn't originally, this piece was going to focus more on Hallex himself, because I had a very clear idea of what I wanted the post to look like for Hallex, what I wanted to be going on, and then at some point I decided I wanted to add more characters, but then I couldn't figure out with the pose I chosen for Hallex how I wanted to get everyone in there, compose what the composition would be. I couldn't figure out what the composition would be, how I wanted to pose everyone, where they would stand in the picture, so it ended up just being Hallex and Hiyari, and you could see earlier in the video I had a little thumbnail up in the corner. It was a little, I guess it kind of looks like a blob, all in white up in the corner, because I had such a clear image of this picture, so I decided to actually thumbnail it out first, because I think it was like 1 a.m. when I decided to what I really wanted to do. So yeah, there's not too much to say. It's, you know, it's a cute little Halloween picture of Hallex and Hiyari just hanging out and having carved some jack-o'-lanterns. In the world of Simply Me, Halloween isn't really a thing. Some of the countries have, you know, fall festivals and stuff like that, but like the dressing up, the trick-or-treating, all that, like there's different ways they celebrate the fall and autumn times, the harvest times in the world of Simply Me, rather than, you know, US stuff like trick-or-treating. In Simply Me, I haven't 100% figured out what exactly it is that they do in Simply Me, actually. I can't say in Simply Me they do XYZ because I haven't world built that yet, all the festivals and stuff. The only festival I have any sort of idea for is actually I want to say midsummer kind of festival that's not important to what's being drawn here, and I actually will cover at some point in the comic. Probably. I actually don't know. I keep saying in this one and in my Homestuck speed paint that I'll cover certain things in the comics for world building, and I'm like, I'm not actually sure how true that is, that I'll cover that in the comic. But we'll see. Yeah, I don't have much else to talk about for the speed paint, actually. You know, there's not much to say. This is not my first Halloween picture I've done. I did one for Yen either last year or the year before. I'm not actually sure which one, what year that was that I did that, but that was the last one I did. I think I did one for Hadex the year before, but I can't actually remember. I tend to forget about drawing holiday pictures, even when I have pretty solid ideas for them, so, but since this is my, you know, it's my 5th video, I wanted to do something themed, so here we are. Like I said, I don't have much else to talk about here, and this is actually one of my longer videos. This piece actually took me a while to do, because I tried to make it pretty big this time around. I like to work not super big. I don't like to have a lot of blank space, but I like to work probably at a medium size. You can see my pixel size up there, up at the top. I usually work around the 3,000 to 4,000 pixel range. Sometimes it can get a little bit bigger, sometimes they're a little bit smaller. It really just depends on the picture. But I wanted something big and fun and cute, something that'll... I didn't want anything spooky. I wanted something a little bit spooky, but that's not how this one turned out this year. Maybe next year we'll get something spookier. Yeah, so I keep saying yeah so because that's what I do when I can't think of what else to say. But I don't have anything else to say. But I feel like it's weird not talking. I don't know, I've kind of established so far with my first few videos that I'm going to be doing voiceovers for all of them. So, let's talk about simply me and what exactly Hallex and Hiyari are, because they're not human. Neither of them are human. Hiyari looks the most human, as I'm sure some of you can tell, because she has, round ears and no accessory limbs. She's got no tail, no wings, no horns or anything like that. So Hallex is, when I developed this world, it was actually going to be more based off of our world, and Hallex was going to be a subset of a demon type, which I still call them demons. They're not technically demons anymore. They're magic. They're just magical. A magical race. Species? Race? I don't know. I think it's species. Species sounds right. They're a magical species called Et. E-H-T. Et. Demons. They are almost completely composed of magic. They're not... Like, they're flesh and blood, but they don't have organs like humans do. It's really weird to be putting this into words instead of putting it on a document, but they don't have organs like humans do. They have a rudimentary respiratory system, and a very rudimentary digestive system, but other than that, no organs. Instead, they have a magical core, I guess would be the word, about where the human heart would be, though it's on the opposite side, so it's where the human heart's on the left side, their core is on the right. And I'm trying to see if I have a text document with all this information on it. So that magical core is what circulates their blood. It's what circulates all that stuff. So they don't, like, their digestive tract isn't actually necessary. It's more of a vestigial tract, I guess. Same with their respiratory system. It's more like is kind of left over, and their magical core circulates the blood, circulates whatever else they happen to need throughout their bodies. They like humans, they eat for energy, but it takes more of the food to actually become energy, so they're whatever. I'm not going into digestive stuff for that's a little bit weird. I don't have that all figured out. But so their core, each demon's magic is a different color, and whatever color that core is, that's the color of the blood, that's the color of their eyes. It has no bearing on hair and skin color or whatever. It's just the blood in the eyes. And For Hallex and Josen, theirs is both red. Hallex has a brighter shade of red, where Josen's is a little bit deeper, just a little bit darker. Hallex is a little bit brighter, a little bit more pink. Their mom's was a even pinkier red, and their dad's is actually more of a orange. So it all kind of balances, I guess. Genes are a little bit weird because rather than reproducing sexually like we do, two will get together and basically combine their magic to form a new core, which will basically grow into a child. And it's a little bit complicated. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of magic. So the fact that Hallex and Josen are siblings is weird and amazing because it takes so much magic that most families only have enough to have one child in Et Society, which Et Society is based all on magical strength, so there's something to be said about that. They also have, on their mom's side, they have an uncle, which says more about their mom's side of the family than their dad's. Et demons are also agender. Because they don't have reproductive organs, their take on gender is basically non-existent. I use he, him pronouns for Hallex and Josen, just because that's what I've always done, and it's, as far as I've created these characters, that is what I've been, I guess, told by them, that's what they like to use at this point in time. As he gets older, Hallex will kind of switch between he'll switch between they, he'll use she pronouns, but gender is an arbitrary thing that Ets just don't care about, because anybody can have children, as long as their magic is strong enough. It's got no bearing on their gender identity or gender presentation. Hallex and Josen's mom presented as female because that was how she felt comfortable, and their dad presents as male for the most part, though he does play with feminine and masculine a little bit more than, say, Josen does. Josen is pretty much, despite being young as far as Et go, he is pretty much, I'm male, I like using he and pronouns. And that's another thing, is that Et demons live for a very, very long time. The oldest living Et demon, as far as the beginning of Simply Me goes, is probably over 500 years old. There's a lot of very specific world building around Et age that I'm not going to get into in this video. Instead, I'm going to switch it up and talk about Hiari for a bit, because she's also here, and it's not just about Hallex, even though it is kind of just about Hallex. Hiari is a witch, that's what the species is called. Witches are a hybrid of Ets and humans, so, I know you're wondering, how does that work, Nils? Because you just said that Ets don't reproduce sexually, so how can they have kids with humans? Well, you see, dear listener, it's because rather than having a kid with a human, what'll happen is the Et will basically infuse the fetus in the womb with magic, and that'll basically guarantee that the child will be assigned female at birth. They will have, whatever, all that, yeah. They'll be assigned female at birth, whether or not they choose to use she, her pronouns, and whatever, that's up to them later, but, they'll be assigned female at birth. They will be the action of infusing a human with Et magic actually makes them infertile, because they are technically part Et, so they don't have the means to have children. Not, at least not biological children in that way. And they get those cool markings all over them, which is basically just a mark of the magic that was used to power them up, because every creature, every species in the world of Simply Me has magic. So witches get the markings, and their markings always match with their eye color, just like Et's. Their hair tends to be a lighter color of their magic, unlike Et's that is affected by their magic color. And what affects their magic color is just based on the magic color of the Et that infused the human with the magic. It has nothing to do with their human parent, how there's not much that's affected by the human parent at that point for witches. Kiari herself is a rather powerful witch, which will be covered in the comic. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, but I also really love talking about my OCs, and I just want to talk about them all day, even though Kiari's not mine. I love her anyway. So we're gonna move on to talking about the types of magic in Simply Me, because like I said, every creature, every being can use magic, but it's all different. So, I've got my notebook over here that I have all my information about magic, and then let me get it out of my backpack. So, let me see. There's another species called wares also in Simply Me, and they use animal-based magics, which, and can transform parts of themselves or all of themselves with, no sorts of incantations or anything. They can just do this naturally. They can speak to animals, what have you. They tend to have, even in their more human forms, they tend to have animal characteristics. I think there's only a couple of wares in the comic. None of them are in the party, so, it is what it is. Et's magic is symbol-based, so they draw symbols in the air and push their magic through it, using it as a focus. For instance, Halix's symbol is usually a circle with his initials in it that, depending on the intent that gets pushed through it, can do different things. The first instance of this being used will be in the first couple of chapters, where Halix and Josen are setting up to start their journey, and they are marking whatever it is that they want to be able to take with them with Halix's mark, and that will allow Halix to later draw the symbol on the floor and call whatever has that same marking up out of it, as long as he can think of what he wants to call up. So if he can't think of it, he can't pull it up, and if it's not already in the circle back at their house, it also can't be called up. Witches can also use this type of magic. They have Et magic, it's what they do, but they don't necessarily have to draw the symbol in the air. They can just push it through. They can visualize the symbol in their mind and push it through the markings on their skin. And that allows them to be a little bit more versatile, and they can have more of a surprise method, I guess, to their magic. It's really hard for Ets and for humans to surprise people with their spells, and Ets can surprise people with what they do with their spells, but can't surprise people that they are casting spells. Humans, or mages, use verbal spells. Their spells are completely verbal based. They can't use they can use like other symbols, but they can't use symbols in the same way that Ets can. For human, symbols just amplify a little bit, where most of their power comes from verbalizing the magic that they want to use. And then there's another species of creatures called guardians, which are, let me see if I can find, guardians are creatures that are summoned basically by other beings in this world in Iselia, and they are able to use all magics, but they tend to, because they are guardians, they're a type of summon. They are usually summoned to guard a person, a place, or a thing, and so their magics tend to be focused through weapons. They don't necessarily need to use them, but it makes the magic easier to maintain and to focus. You know, it's like a wand for a wizard in D&D or whatever. Or, I mean, not only in D&D, but it's like a wand for a wizard basically, or a staff or whatever. They are the only creatures in Iselia that do need a actual magical focus. Humans, like with certain symbols, it will help a little bit, but not enough that most mages tend to use them. At some point, what am I looking for? At some point, I actually lost what I was saying, but yeah, those are the types of magics. And those are the different types of magics. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what really else to say. Video's almost over, I think. Yeah, I think it's almost over. I'm really excited to work on this comic, you guys. I just need to sit down and actually finish writing the script, because there's a lot that I want to cover, but, you know, actually getting it on paper is the hard part. And I really love these characters a lot, and I'm very thankful to Fisto for letting me use Hiyari and Hiyari's husband, because they are both Fistos. Because it's going to be a lot of fun when I finally sit down and do it. I say sit down and do it like this isn't going to be a years-long thing that I'm going to try to be updating more or less every week. I tried that with Aria Mithraloids. Gonna have to try it again. Should probably catch up on Aria Mithraloids, actually, because I have, I need to finish thumbnailing Chapter 2. I'm almost done with Chapter 1. I should have gotten all of that done before I even started posting, but here we are. Anything else about Simply Me I wanted to talk about that I can talk about for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever the time is? I don't think there is, so just enjoy the rest of the video, I guess. There's not too much left. And that's it. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye!